Today I'm going to show you how to do Photoshop Lesson 3. Lesson 3 is located in Unit 8, and in order to start you'll need to open up the Start file, which is located in Moodle. So click on the Start file. It will download for you, and when you click on it to open it, it's going to bring it into Photoshop, since the file is a Photoshop file to start out with. We'll be doing some moving around of these items that are on the outside of the page, and we'll be putting them onto the plate using various selection tools. The first selection tool that we're going to use is the Quick Selection tool. The Quick Selection tool is located here with the magic wand. Hold the magic wand down and choose the Quick Selection tool. We'll be using the Quick Selection tool to select the sand dollar. So you can adjust the size of this brush by increasing or decreasing the brush size. It's located right up here at the properties bar. Mine is 60 pixels right now. You can adjust yours to match if you'd like. You're going to wave over, click and wave over the sand dollar, and you'll see that it makes a selection around that. Now, in order to move it, we're going to switch up to the Move tool. That's this top tool. And we're going to pull the sand dollar so that it's at approximately the 8 o'clock position on the plate. Then let go. Now once you've positioned something, you can still move it while it's selected, but once you've deselected it, it will become part of the background layer. So make sure you put it where you want it to start out with. Alright, so it is in my 8 o'clock position. I'm going to let go of it. And in order to deselect this, I can do select, deselect, or I can click on the D key. The next tool we're going to use is to select this section over here, this orange and green plate, and we're going to use this Marquee Tool. So the Marquee Tool is the second tool down, and we want the ellipse, the elliptical Marquee Tool right here. We're going to start off at the top left corner of the plate, and we're going to click and drag down and try to make our selection match the size of the plate. It does take some practice. You can reposition it once you've made the selection. So practice clicking and dragging down, and then trying to make sure your little marching ant selection matches the plate. Once you have selected the plate successfully, switch to the Move tool and move your blue and green plate over here to the bamboo plate and put it right on top of the sand, or right above the sand dollar. You can also move things with the arrow keys. For example, while something is selected, you can nudge it around using the arrow keys on your keyboard. You can try that if you like. The next thing we're going to do is select Sally Seashells, and we're going to be using the same tool but a different technique. So same elliptical Marquee tool. This time we're going to start right in the middle of the circle. So try and pick out where the exact center is, and then with your selection point held or floating right over the center, you're going to hold down the Alt key, hold it down, and then you're going to pull out from the middle. Let's try that again here. Pull out from the middle, and it will expand it from the center out. So now this time you want to try and match it the best you can from the center out. Once the selection is, once you've let go, you can move the selection around using the arrow keys if you'd like. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to take our Move tool and we're going to drag this over to approximately 1 o'clock on our plate, like that. Now while this is still selected, we're going to make the selection the opposite. So we're going to inverse it, and then we're adjusting the color here really. So we want to go to Image, Adjustments, and we want Invert. You can do this by also clicking Control I. It will change it to a blue color. Now we've got another couple tricks here with this the Sally Seashells, so don't deselect this one yet. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to have our Move tool selected, and we're going to hold down the Alt key on our keyboard. When we hold down the Alt key, you can see how 2 arrows pop up. This will allow us to click and drag away a second copy. And once we've done that, we've pulled away this second copy. We're going to let go, and then we're going to resize this one. Resizing is done by going to the word Edit, Transform. And if you want to, you can just click Control T. So I'm going to do while this is selected, Control T, and you can see how this little resize box pops up. And now we want to make this one just a bit bigger. So I'm going to hold down the Shift key. The Shift key will allow me to make it bigger without distorting it. If I don't hold down the Shift key, I could make it a really off size. I could make it into a long skinny circle or a tall skinny circle. So I want to hold down that Shift key. If I make a big mistake while I'm transforming, all I have to do is hit this No box right up here. If I click No, then it stops transforming and I can start again. So Control T, hold down the Shift key, and make it about twice as big. Okay, and then I can move it around if I like. Once I've made that one twice as big, I'm going to click on this check mark right up here. I can also click on Enter, and that will apply the change. The next thing I'm going to do is actually repeat the process. So I still have my Move tool selected. I'm going to hover over the selection. I'm going to hold down the Alt key. I'm going to drag down, and then I'm going to Control T it again. Hold the Shift key and make it bigger. Okay, and once I've done that, I can click on the check mark up here to apply the change. All right, so far so good. I'm on page 79 now. On page 79, we are going to be working on selecting this piece of coral. Now this is a tricky selection because it has an uneven edge, but Photoshop makes it very easy by using two tools together. We're going to choose the rectangular Marquee tool, and we're going to make a box around the coral. You can see I've made a generous box. There's white on every side. Now I'm going to switch tools, and I'm going to add another tool to my selection. So now this time I'm going to go to the magic wand, and this is still selected. I want to go in the white area inside the box but not on the coral. I'm going to hold down the Alt key, and you can see how my magic wand now appears with a negative sign below it. I'm going to click inside the box but not on the coral, and as you can see, the selection has cinched up, and now it's just right on the coral, and now I can use my Move tool to slide it over. I'm going to put this right in the middle of the plate right there, and I don't want to select it anymore, so I'm going to do Select, Deselect. Perfect. So far so good. Now we're going to work on this shell down here. We're going to use another selection tool. There's so many to pick from. This time we want the Polygonal Lasso tool. Now the Polygonal Lasso tool is an interesting tool. It makes straight lines. So if you have something that is a straight lined object, it's easy to select. With the Polygonal Lasso tool, you just make selections by clicking, and then you connect the two together and you have whatever shape you want. We're going to use this tool to select this dark shell. So we need to make lots of small clicks to follow the edge of the shell. So I'm going to click as I go around the edge. Now remember, it's only a straight line, so in order to make this match, you really do have to make a lot of small clicks. So just keep going. If you make a mistake, like whoops, down here, all you have to do is double click and then go up to Select, Deselect, and start again. So clicking as you go. And this tool is pretty handy, but you know, the nice thing about Photoshop is there's lots of tools to choose from, so depending on what you want to do, you get to pick the tool you use, and there's always more than one right way to do something. So if you know of a tool that you think will work, give it a try. Okay, we've got that selected. Now we're just going to move it up. So I can't see very well where I want to go, so I'm going to zoom out, Control 0, switch to my Move tool, and then I'm going to pull this one up to down here at the bottom of the plate. This time they want me to rotate it, so I'm going to go ahead and hit the Control T option again, and when I'm on the handle I'd be able to resize, but when I'm outside of the box I can go ahead and rotate, and that's a pretty handy trick. So try it with this seashell, try rotating it, and when you have it how you want, you can either hit Enter or the check mark up here at the top. Our last seashell that we're going to select is going to be done using another lasso tool, this time the magnetic lasso tool. Now the magnetic lasso tool looks for color changes. So it's going to try and find the difference between this bright colored seashell and the background, but we have to help it quite a bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by clicking right on the edge, and then we're going to follow along and trace the edge. And the magic lasso will try its very best to follow where we're going and to see the difference between the seashell and this fabric behind it. Sometimes it makes a mistake, as you can see, but don't worry, we can fix that later. So it's following along. The better you trace it, the better time that the tool will have. Now if I've got this little extra chunk right here, this is not in the directions, but I can show you how to fix it. One easy fix is to go back up to our magic wand like we used for the coral, and you can hit the Alt key and you can magic wand right on that dark part and it will kind of cinch in. So that was one way to fix it. There's other ways as well, but let me show you that for now. Now I just want to move that seashell up, so I'm going to do Control-0 again so I can see where I'm taking him, and I'm going to switch to my move tool and I'm going to cut him out and put him right here on the plate. Alright, I have all my seashells positioned on the plate, but as you can see I've got a lot of extra around the outside, and so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to deselect my seashell, and then I'm going to switch to the crop tool, which we've used lots of times before, and I'm going to pull in these edges so that I can start to eliminate some of that extra border that I don't need to see anymore. And so right about there, and once I have slid the border in so that I just have that white, then I'm going to click on my checkbox, and looks like I've got a little extra right down there. If I want to be perfect, I'll fix that. Okay, now last thing is I just want to save this as a JPEG. Put it where you put all your picture stuff, in your photo folder. You might want to make a new folder for it. This one's called Lesson 3. And put it in there as a JPEG. Don't forget, JPEGs are the ones we handed on Moodle. So save it in there. Maximum size is fine. And you're ready to turn it in.